Yo, it's your bro, Yo Elliott here, and I'm following up with a video that I made just a few weeks ago where I talked about the top profession in the world and what I believe to be the #1 thing that young men should get into as a profession, and that is the business of being the strongest version of yourself and empowering others. This is how Strength Camp has been developed. This is the philosophy behind Strength Camp, and this is how I see supporting other coaches in delivering what I believe to be the best service, the most important thing to the planet, which is health and fitness, supporting people becoming their best selves. And in that video, I mentioned that coaches are kings. So what I want to do today is I want to talk about kings building their kingdoms. What does it look like to be a coach that delivers his message and delivers his blessings not only to his city, right? Because that's first and paramount. That's the most grounded thing, is to have a gym, have brick and mortar, but also too, in later videos in this series, I'm going to talk about how the internet has given us the opportunity to spread our message, to spread our mission, and really to spread your personal brand worldwide so that we are all supporting one another and becoming the strongest version of ourselves, and we can see this planet rise up. So in this video, quickly, I'm going to cut to a conversation with my partner, Chris Barnard, and I. Chris has been running Strength Camp St. Pete for the past 3 years, and it has been tremendously successful. And I think that has a lot to do with the systems, and it has a lot to do with the paradigm from which we operate this location. The same things that we've been using here is the same things that we've been using worldwide, so we know that it's something that will work no matter where you decide to open a gym. So if you are a coach, if you're a king, if you're looking to open a gym, this is a video you want to take notes and listen to the very end about. So for the past 3 years, my partner Chris Barnard here has been running Strength Camp St. Pete, and we've been doing an incredible job. We went from 0 to 150 members, and it has been steady. That's great, but that's not all. What we've been doing is exporting our systems and our branding to Strength Camp ambassadors or people who decide they want to open up their own gyms worldwide, and it has been extraordinary. We're getting great results with the guys. I brought Chris here to talk a little bit about the principles and the systems that we use and that he implements here and teaches our ambassadors to make sure that you can also open your own successful brick and mortar gym where you help people face to face, heart to heart, because that's where it's at.
Absolutely, absolutely. And first and foremost, what I think it starts with is having your service down, what you're actually providing as a gym. I think a lot of people tend to get wrapped up in the sales and marketing of things, and that's great. But at the end of the day, the service that you provide, it's like a restaurant, right? You ever went to a mom and pop restaurant in New York, which I'm sure you have? People know the one particular diner that gets all the people. It's not because they're great marketers,
Right.
It's because they have great food.
And sometimes
right?
it's like a shitty looking place.
It's a shitty looking place. And you see around, we've built this off of trash.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no gimmicks, there's no chrome and carpet inside this gym. It comes down to the coaching that we're providing and the service that we're providing. I think that your training, first and foremost, needs to have an identity, right? A lot of guys want to go and throw the kitchen sink at their training. Oh, I'm doing kickboxing, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. We have one class that we run here, and we fill those classes up. Like you said, in the first 3 months, we were able to cover overhead. Within the first year, we were able to get to 150. We're the highest costing gym in the entire area, and we've been pretty successful by doing that, and it comes down to the service that we're able to provide.
Yes.
We stay true to our identity, which is essentially athletic movements, structural integrity, barbell primal pattern movements, and then what we call speed, which is essentially being able to take that movement and move it dynamically. After that, there's obviously key points that you got to focus on when running a successful gym business, and that's obviously marketing and sales. What I want to be able to go over with you guys in this seminar is be able to go from how we generate leads. We have 3 different avenues. A lot of guys are stuck on a lot of online right now because that's the hype, right? And that's where you can reach a multitude of people in your local area. However, there's also avenues as far as offline and in-house that you can also do. So you should always have 3 poles in the water to increase your chances to catch fish, as I always like to say. And I'd like to go over that with everybody. The other thing as far as sales is you always have to duplicate the same one, because what happens is if you're not the salesperson, somebody else has to step in as the salesperson at your gym. So you all have to be on the same wavelength as far as how you're conducting yourself, the words that you're saying, and how you go ahead and approach it. And that comes in the form of a sales script, being able to sit down across from each person, because what happens is you can't manage what you can't measure, right? And if we're not all conducting ourselves and operating under the same script, how do we know how to tweak that script to then increase our sales? And you're not going to want to be the person, you're going to eventually want to work on your business as opposed to in your business. So you're going to want to evolve yourself and allow yourself to be able to have somebody underneath you that makes the sales. So by doing that and creating these systems, you can seamlessly and effortlessly be able to then be able to create a successful warehouse gym business.
I got a quick question regarding to something that you just mentioned with regard to chroming carpet and the gym being very bare bones. We started with bare bones. We basically still are bare bones, and we also charge more than anybody else in the city. So we've got really the lowest overhead, the lowest flash and glamour, the lowest marketing budget, but yet we charge the most and have the most clients. I think this is a key principle to recognize, of course, in your gym, and if you're opening a brick and mortar gym, and recognizing that the service, like Chris mentioned, is more important than the flash and glamour, but also with marketing and sales. Because there are so many marketing gurus out there today, particularly on the internet, it's easy to get sidetracked and fall for the illusion that because they're using some special graphics in their videos or flash and glamour, shiny object stuff, that's better marketing. But it turns out that as you describe the fundamentals of marketing being about following the scripts, following systems and testing, it turns out that ugly marketing, low flash and glamour marketing, bare bones marketing, straight to the point, direct response marketing actually wins in our case over a lot of the flash and glamour.
Absolutely, and sometimes you got to take the emotion out of it. A lot of people when they're starting off, especially when it comes to marketing, is they tend to want to have that emotion. But we always say the one thing that we common say in our business is numbers don't lie, right? We can have all kinds of ideas about what looks great and man, that looks awesome. Obviously, we want to stay true to ourselves and authentic, but at the end of the day, is it generating leads? Are you converting those leads into actual members? And that's the two numbers that you really want to focus on, traffic conversion. And that's really what it comes down to. And when in regards to the system, we were mentioning earlier, I often like to equate systems and when you get a system that works to your mama's recipe, right?
Right.
If your mom made an amazing recipe and somebody wants to duplicate that recipe, right? You give them a series of flour, eggs, sugar, equal parts, all right, according to her recipe, and bake it the same amount of time that she makes it, or whatever whatever it is. If that person goes to then change that recipe, let's say one of our sales guy wants to change our recipe, or he wants to alter the marketing, well, then I can't guarantee that that is going to taste the same.
Right.
So it's a matter of being able to duplicate and evolve by hitting and executing on the systems that are laid out.
And
really
Mama's been doing that recipe for maybe generations.
a long time.
It's funny like how we think sometimes we're so clever that we're going to change something that's been working for generations.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at the end of the day, like I said, it comes back to that service. Numbers don't lie when it comes to the systems, but at the end of the day, it's who we're being, it's who we're conducting ourselves as coaches, and there's a lot of systems that we put in place to be able to teach our coaches and any of our staff to be able to conduct themselves in that way and provide superior service to our members.
So in September, Chris and I are going to be hosting the very first Total Fitness Entrepreneur Summit, mastermind, if you will, because it's limited to a small group of people who we're working together with in order to deliver value for those who are rightfully opening their own gyms. If you're going to be a king, you're going to be a coach, it's not good enough to do it in the stratosphere, internet, everything's in the fucking clouds. You gotta be brick and mortar, you gotta be on the ground, you gotta be grounded with your approach because human beings are social creatures, not social media creatures. And we want to be and we crave one-on-one or groups or heart-to-heart, eye-to-eye, communal value. And that's a big part of what we do at Strength Camp. So we're holding an event where Chris is going to be talking about the most fundamental principles, but also the key mistakes that people make when trying to open their own brick and mortar business. You want to be here to join us for that. Chris, tell us just a little bit about what people are definitely going to learn and why they got to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So August 31st, that Friday, as you alluded to, we're going to be running this seminar, and in that morning portion, as you know, and we've talked about this, the fitness industry is completely blown up, and the pendulum always swings. Although we're all about online, everybody's doing online programs and stuff like that. We've always shared the same sentiment of actually coaching on the grassroots level. And what I want to be able to do is set people up to be able to successfully and be able to provide some information, some of the things that I talked about, creating systems, being able to provide the best service possible, being able to retain your members, how to set up a structure. I've worked with a lot of different coaches inside our own ambassadorship and outside to be able to kind of start to create structure. And that's really what my strength has become. And I see so many great coaches who lack the business side of things. And really what I want to be able to do is touch on those things. The service that you're providing, being able to create an identity around your training. That becomes your marketing, sales, and retention. Then I want to go deeper on the marketing and lead generation side of things, as well as the sales that we've just referred to, and then retention and furthermore of how you involve yourself out of it. And that's really what I'm focused on in my particular talk.
If you're a coach, if you're an aspiring coach, if you're an online coach, somebody looking to bring it down to the earth or get started with the seeds of their own gym, this is something that you must be at. We're not teaching you theory. We're not going from notebooks. We're not going from a course that we learned from someone else. This is how Strength Camp grew. This is how Strength Camp is growing. And we're going to give you some behind the scenes, in the trenches, tips, tactics, and strategies that you can use to go from being a nobody trainer without a certification yet to being someone who has a big following. There are lots of guys, I see them on YouTube, big followings, but it's all in the clouds. Guys who are out there who are delivering value through the internet, that's great, but if you're really wanting to revolutionize the planet and work with what's happening here, you want to be able to serve the people in your community, because that's really where it's at.
Absolutely, guys. Like you mentioned, Friday, August 31st, it's at the Tampa Convention Center. You guys can come. If you join us on Friday, you obviously have a free ticket to the next day, which is the Tampa Fitness Expo, where we'll be running a strongman challenge. We're excited. Come celebrate with us and learn a lot.
Great. We'll be there, and also stick around for the next video that we're going to upload in just a couple days. We're going to talk to you a little bit more about what I'll be sharing at our event and how you can get involved.
Absolutely.